In this topic 6 video, we're going to specify a reform, and then we're going to specify a response file that assumes some kind of behavioral response to the reform. So for our reform here, we're going to assume that beginning in 2020, the lifestyle relief amount is going to be capped at 1,000 ringgit. Okay, so we're going to switch now over to the Anaconda prompt. And we're here in our topic 6 directory. And we're going to use our grep command to refresh our memory about what words the model understands related to lifestyle. Whoops. Oh, forgot that words is plural. Sorry about that. Okay, so there are 2 rows in the dictionary, the language words file, that contain the phrase lifestyle. The first row is the amount that the filer puts on the form. That's why it's a variable. This is the type of thing. The second row is a policy parameter. This is the cap on it. So if somebody has 8,000, the cap is less than that, and so that's all you can take as a deduction that reduces your taxable or chargeable income. So what we want to do in this is to create a, in our editor, we want to create a JSON reform file. Let's call it topic 6 video reform.json. And let's say that we're going to change the relief lifestyle. That's the policy parameter. Beginning in 2022 to 1,000 ringgit. Okay? And then we got to put the ending brace to match the beginning brace. Okay, let's change that, or save that, go back to the command prompt, or the Anaconda prompt, and let's use that to simulate what happens in 2022. So we're going to type the name of the model. We're going to use the tax sample. We want realistic estimates, 2022. Not current law policy, but this, the one that we just saved. We're not going to focus on the dump output, so let's suppress that. And we're, let's see what it says here. Okay, let's look at this. So we're using the default growth factors both under current law and reform. In other words, we're not doing what we did in topic 5, where we changed those. So we're back to using the default growth assumptions. Here's the key thing, though. Because we haven't told the model otherwise, it's using its default assumptions that there are no responses to behavior. The way the responses are characterized are with response elasticities. So no response means there's a zero elasticity. So that's the default assumption. So what we're going to do next is to figure out how to specify the response file. It's a JSON file. And we're going to do that by looking at the variable output, I'm sorry, the parameter output file here. And we're going to look for phrases that include okay. Now this is interesting. We haven't seen anything like this before. Part of the reading assignment that you did before you watched these videos, it was to read the behavior responses.json file that's part of the source code. So you will have seen phrases like this. So right now, the only variable that can experience a response to a reform is employment income. And we see here that the responses, or the substitution, the income elasticities are 0, and the substitution elasticities are 0. Why are there more than one? We haven't seen that. That's because the elasticities can be assumed to be different in 5 different employment income bins, sort of like a histogram. Now, the crazy numbers that we have here in blue mean only the first number is going to be operable, because the first bin, the way this is set up, runs from a -1 with 99 zeros after it. That's an enormously large negative number. And on the right-hand side, it's +1 with 99 zeros after it. That's more ring it than there are in the whole world. So everybody is going to fall into that first bin. But that's exactly what we want. We want to assume here's the response we want to assume. We want to assume that employment income has a uniform, meaning at all employment levels, 0.2 substitution elasticity. So what we're going to do is copy and paste this, but the first number we're going to change from 0 to 0.2. So let me copy that onto the clipboard, switch to my editor, create another file. Let's call this T6 video response.json. This is the response file. Now I'm going to copy and paste that in, but I know I need to make it into JSON, right? I need to put a brace, need to put this in quotes, and then I need to say, when is this going to happen? Well, the reform's happening in 2022, so there's no point specifying the non-zero elasticities any sooner than that. So here's something new that we haven't seen before. After the year and then the colon, before we put single scalar numbers in. But it's completely legitimate in JSON to put a list, but it has to be comma separated. So we're going to fill in the zeros and the commas just to make it look nice. And I believe that should work. we'll try that and see whether it works, okay? This is what I like about the model. You don't have to be absolutely certain that it's right, because it's going to tell you, well, I don't understand what you're saying, and hopefully it's going to be helpful if you make a mistake. Let's see what happens. What we want to do is the same reform as before here, except, let me refresh your memory about what we're going to, about the usage here. We're going to use this option for the first time ever in the videos, okay? And the cap response is the name of the file that has the JSON in it. So here was no response, and then all we do is type response and this T6V RSP JSON, okay? Let's see if it works. Let's see if I made any mistakes. Well, that's promising. It ran. Now, let's see what this parameter file has in it, right? This should show the 0.2 business. See? This is what we wanted. That used to be a 0. In fact, what we can do is look back at the other file. This is the one without the response, and see, it's got this. So it's exactly the same. We could use our fancier diff tools to confirm that the only difference here between these two runs, in fact, let's see, I think we've got time. So we'll put the no response on the left. And we'll put the response one on the right. Made a mistake. Oh, got an extra word in here with my copy and paste. Sorry about that. Oh. Forgot what I was doing. Okay, sorry about that. So this confirms that the two parameter output files are exactly the same, except for one thing, that we've changed the substitution elasticity for employment income from 0 to 0.2. And because the bin is so wide, that first bin, essentially from -infinity to +infinity, that it's the 0.2 elasticity is going to apply to everybody, all the filers.